Hey everybody, so this week we're talking about old topics that got dealt with before I joined the channel. So I was looking through the old videos trying to figure out what I wanted to talk about, and I saw that there were videos about packing, and I realized that it's probably the one trans/transition related topic that I haven't really talked about. So I figured that's what I'd do my video on. I probably don't talk about it a lot just because I don't pack. There have been like periods in my life where I kind of felt the need to. I had an STP at one point, but I just stopped using it in the middle of trying to learn how to use it because it just didn't seem that necessary for me. And then also I left it at a friend's house, and I have no idea where it is. But I've kind of thought about maybe buying another one and trying to figure out how to use it, but it's just not something that's really important to me, and that's also the case with packing. When I was first figuring myself out, packing did kind of factor in a little bit into that process, but after I figured out my gender, it wasn't really something I felt the need to do. I did have another time for maybe about a month where it was when I first started going to college, and I think it was because I was finally being seen as male by the majority of the people around me for the first time. And I've heard about this with other guys as well. When you make a big step in your social or medical transition, it can increase dysphoria in other areas because you were focused on this one thing, and now that that's not there to worry about, you've got to focus on something else. Your dysphoria gets just shifted. And I think that may have happened for me a little bit. And it wasn't really my own relationship with my body that made me feel like I needed to. It was probably more about just having dealt with a lot of awkward or offensive conversations coming out at the very beginning of being in college, and I just really didn't want to deal with that anymore. And so I wanted people to not know that I was trans so that I wouldn't have to have those conversations. And so I started to wonder if maybe packing was something that I needed to do to help accomplish that. I also dated this one guy who was trans knowledgeable and experienced, with trans guys, but he didn't really deal with it in the best way. He called me intriguing at one point. It was definitely related to my trans status, which at the time I was just sort of over the moon at the idea that someone that I had met that was attracted to me actually had experience with trans guys, so I kind of ignored it. But I did feel the need to pack when I was with him, and I think it was sort of because I figured, okay, he has experience with other trans guys, and most other trans guys pack, and so if I do something that's not like the other trans guys he has experience with, he might think that's weird. And so I need to be more like them, so I need to pack. So I didn't have a packer, so I just used a sock. And so a funny story about that, which was not funny at the time, but it's funny now, is I was spending the night, and so I took the sock out because I didn't want it to move around while I was sleeping and come out of my pants leg and get lost in the bed or something. So I just sat it in the floor, and the door was closed and everything, so I was just gonna pick it back up in the morning and put it back in. But I guess maybe he went out to use the bathroom or something, but somehow the door got open, and his roommate's tiny little yappy Pomeranian came in, picked up the sock off the floor, and ran out with it and ran around the house with it. So when I tried to find it, it was not there. And I went into the living room, and I saw the dog laying there with it, and I got the sock and was incredibly embarrassed and didn't know who had seen it. And so I guess that was sort of when I realized that for me, packing is more trouble than it's worth. For other people, it can help immensely with dysphoria, and so I would never say that other people shouldn't pack, but it's just not really something that feels necessary for me. It has at certain points in my life. Maybe it will at some point again, but at this point, it's not something that I do. It's not something that I feel would, I guess, would improve my quality of life in any way. So yeah, hopefully you guys found that at least somewhat entertaining, and I will see you all next week.